in this art. Grab canvas, paint picture, use them acrylics, paint a picture so vivid the people gotta feel it like the kava. Feelings bear fruit like guava. Words spilling out of my brain like lava. Spills out the top of a volcano. And they know that ain't right. It's not the one to play no or pay no in Mortal Kombat. Cause the lyrics like blades. Aim it at you just last week when I'm on stage.
This week in the back of this Miller Lite bullshit.
Rage on another chapter, so turn a turn. Okay, got that out my system. A-right on another planet, dog, you must have missed them. When I do it how I do it's of my own volition. Gonna make my destination even
you got better now.
My crew's the Blues Brothers, cause you know we on a mission. Eternity of roses, I make bumping in your system. I mean banging in it, I'm still hanging in it. I got a gang of wisdom, I got a gang of rhythms, I got a lot of soul. I found the pot of gold, I'm rapping that shit up, I'm selling to the globe. I got some game to give them, they don't really want, but they really
let them roll around
to succeed. I want you to be free. I want you to remove every obstacle from being what you truly want to be. I truly want to see. And I can
back in the 60s, they used to have these child leashes where they'd strap the kid around the waist and it'd be like a leash where they could crawl around the back of the car, but not enough to where they could jump out the goddamn window or nothing. I'd say we do that.
Sounds like a great idea.
Every time my kids act up, I'll just throw them outside the goddamn car and let them dangle there for a little bit. Be like, you learned a goddamn lesson? You learned that lesson? Get back in the car.
Like a little... No, just prop them up. As long as they're in the car, that's all that matters.
That's just trying to put a kid in the car and the mom walks up. People are like, why is his face where his ass supposed to be? Like, what are we doing? What is... he shat on that seat last week. It like escaped back in. What are you guys taking shots of? Well, there you go. Are you taking a shot of their Shaq?
Overproof rum process.
What the fuck is overproof rum?
It basically it's just...
Like, what are the life choices that you people are making? God damn. We need a studio just so I can control the alcohol you people put in your bodies.
Overly done alcohol.
It looks like fucking liquid cornstarch. Don't try to tell me that's rum.
70% alcohol. It's a wonderful time.
70% alcohol?
Oh, so yeah, 70%.
Double spearmint.
I'm drinking beer. I'm drinking water. 2 touchdowns a game? Yes, in the game. You're tripping. How high? No, it is Super Bowl time.
I don't know what we're doing in the front office, man. Twiddling our fucking dick.
Ryan, I just need you to drink this.
Wide receiver trivia. That's what she said.
Upset.
Crutches? You can see Ryan's crutches.
God damn. Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of After Further Review. This is episode 112, and I am your favorite and hated co-host all at the same time, Malin. Go ahead there, Jay.
I am your other co-host, Jalen Brown.
And I am probably the only Dolphins fan co-host that you like, Lester.
Yes.
Presidential Steelers fans, Shaquille.
Yes.
I think when you say things like Dolphins fan that we like, that's like an oxymoron. Ain't nobody like a Dolphins fan. But anyways, listen, if you guys have ever heard After Further Review, you'll notice something a little bit different going on. Why? Because I'm talking first, and we don't know if this is the first and the last time this is going to happen. Might be the last time, because they might never hear us again. But If you've ever heard of the Titanic, I'm driving the ship tonight. And I don't know if we're going to sink, but I can guarantee you one thing, Jalen. If we sink, there's enough room on Shaq's big ass head for us all to survive, unlike Rose kicking Jack's ass off there to die. So we got that going for us. We got our own flotation device. It's after further review approved. Over there, look at it. So, anyways, let's go ahead and take our shots like we know how to do.
Yes, raise them on high,
Let's
gentlemen.
do it. We got some people drinking Four Roses, and Jack is drinking cornstarch rum. That's good. I was just waiting for Jalen to see if he was going to make that. No, he about to cough up. He about to. Good luck, Nestor. But listen, if you are listening to the show and you want to watch the YouTube version, which if you're listening to the show, you might as well watch the YouTube version because there's nothing better than watching a bunch of ugly people talk about sports. You should go ahead and click the link on the podcast description and you'll be taken to the replay of this episode where you get to literally see Nestor's hairline continue to go back in his head. And you can watch a live broadcast of the moon at the same time with Shaq over at his house. And listen, we live stream every single Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern. I don't know why that's actually in the notes, because this is the first time we live stream on a Wednesday night in 3 weeks. But we're here on the Mel Himes Media YouTube channel. That's where we kick ass and take names. So be sure to give the stream a like, subscribe. You'll be notified when we're going live. So let's go ahead, gentlemen. Let's just get into the shit here.
Yes.
Patriots.
No.
Lose to Vikings. That must have been a painful turkey leg that you had to swallow there, Jalen. So we're going to go ahead and start with you. Give us your take on the game, and also, are the Vikings the best team in the NFC?
So my take on this just great Thanksgiving, the post Thanksgiving meal, what you're gonna go out on for the rest of the night. I was feeling good, and then I was not feeling so good come the second half. To answer the question directly, I do not think that the Vikings are the best team in the NFC. I will still probably have to chalk that up to the good old Philadelphia Eagles, mainly because Minnesota's defense is not very good. I don't know how they haven't had more times than they actually have been this season because they let Mac Jones go out there and look like TB12 because he had by far the best game of this season. So I loved it, but it still just wasn't enough in the end. I blame our special teams for this loss. Just way too many boneheaded mistakes. The punt return that we allowed, and running into the punter, which from that penalty let the Vikings keep the ball, and then they ended up scoring, and that ended up being the game-winning touchdown. So special teams really messed this one up, which is rare from a Patriots team. It's very strange. But yeah, I think the Vikings are not the best team in the NFC. I think it's the Eagles. Their defense is a bit suspect if you let old Mac Jones come out there and beat you up a bit. So that's on me. Nestor?
All right.
I really feel like I can't even make a decision on this if they're the best. Because, first, the Vikings got routed against Dallas.
Right.
And then you have Philly losing to Washington. And I think this all hinges on the fact that Tua wasn't healthy when they played the Vikings.
I see what you're saying.
Because that would have been a nice little measure.
Yeah.
A really good game to measure the Vikings. So I honestly, I gotta go with the Vikings being the best in the NFC, just because I feel like Philly's gonna crumble eventually. have the easier schedule. And I feel under pressure, like the way Washington handled them, the Vikings look better in the second half. They look more resilient. They look like they fight the game more. And Philly under pressure, as soon as they meet a tough opponent, I feel like they're gonna just crumble.
Fair.
Okay, so you're going. So Jalen is going with the Eagles in the Hurts train, and Nestor is sticking with the Vikings. He likes Kirk Cousins wearing all that ice. What about you there, Shaq?
It was a very good game. I'm gonna have to agree with Nestor. I still believe the Vikings are the best one out there. Like he said, they have the easier schedule of most teams this season. They look good, but I still think they are gonna fumble at a certain point, and they will be the own worst enemy. I think the Vikings are gonna be a more complete team and last longer than Philly. So, just my opinion.
Okay. I kind of have a hard time agreeing with the Vikings being the best team in the NFC simply because we just saw them get spanked 40-3 2 weeks ago by the 8-4 Dallas Cowboys, who aren't even leading their own division. But when I think about the Vikings, I think they're a little fraudulent. I think they've won some games where they kind of lucked out in. You think about that Buffalo game with Josh Allen on the 1 yard line. How many times does a quarterback fumble the ball on the 1 yard line? Like, all they had to do was just keep possession of the ball. Oddly enough, I don't think it's Philly. I know they're 10-1, but the last 3 weeks, losing to Washington, damn near losing to the Jeff Saturday Colts 17-16, and you beat Green Bay when Aaron Rodgers did not even play the entire game. I actually think that it is the San Francisco 49ers at 7-4 that are the most complete team. I think they have the best defense in the NFC. I think Jimmy G is competent enough to get you to the NFC Championship game. And I think Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Kibbles and bits, people. I just think that I think they're solid. I think they're scary good as long as they're healthy, and they weren't healthy for like 5 or 6 games. So I think that's a good reason why they're 7-4. So I'm going to go ahead and go with San Francisco. Do you guys think that I'm completely batshit crazy for thinking that San Francisco is the best team in the NFC?
You're not, but I don't think Jimmy G
No.
is as good as you think he is. And that's because
Well, I didn't say I think he's good.
No, I didn't say
I
you're
didn't-
saying that he's good, but he's not as decent as you're saying that he is.
Some of us are very grateful to have Jimmy G as a quarterback for our team.
All right.
But
Come on, Shaq.
The 49ers are a very complete team. To me, it does come down to a bit of Jimmy G and then Shanahan. Like, I don't know. They seem to just, they can only get you but so far. So,
Yeah, I see that. I just know that Jimmy G took that team to Super Bowl back in 2019. It was one dropped interception from the defense away from being able to beat the Rams and going back to the Super Bowl last year. Like, I just think that with the squad around him, I think that team is good enough if they're healthy. And now they have Christian McCaffrey, and he's not hurt. Like, that's just weird. Like, at some point, you got to think that he's going to get hurt, but he's not yet. So, whatever. But moving on, let's go ahead and talk about one of our favorite teams on the program. Last Sunday, the Steelers squeezed out a win like someone constipated squeezes out of shit. They beat the Colts 17-14. I'm going to go ahead and start with you on this one, Shaq. Is Kenny Pickett truly the quarterback of the future for your Pittsburgh Steelers? We already know that Najee Harris is not the running back of the future because he already bought his jersey, but is Kenny Pickett the quarterback of the future?
It's hard for me to say no purely because it's just like you said, his first season, he's had a few, very little, maybe just one good game, but you'll give him another year before I say franchise quarterback. Too early to say. To me, this game's like, yes, you It's the Colts. It's all calm down. We beat the Colts. I'm kind of happy that we did win, but at the same time, I feel like we are also shooting ourselves in the foot by winning this game. We all know this season's kind of a wash anyway. Why are we continuing to prove a point that's already gone? Go ahead and take us for the rest of the season. That's all I'm saying.
I swear to God, Jalen, this man never wants this team
This
to win. He
man.
never wants them to win a football game. He's like, we won, but we shot ourselves in the foot. He's like,
Oh my
What did
goodness.
what did we get? What did we get by winning this game?
I don't know.
No
You
humiliation.
Oh.
escaped the embarrassment of
Right.
losing to Jeff
Exactly.
Saturday. And you're lucky that Jeff Saturday doesn't care about time clock management in the fourth quarter because you guys might have lost that game.
Man, did not call a timeout.
So, all right.
Should've.
Oh my god.
I don't want my
So,
draft pick next year. Okay, that's all I want.
what's the draft? He's like, draft another quarterback. All right, Nestor, what do you think? Is Kenny Pickett the quarterback of the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
You know, I had somebody told me that Kenny Pickett is like Derek Carr, but just more mobile, and quicker on his feet. I think if you put talent around Kenny, that he'll do better, and you'll see that eventually in him. So I think he is the franchise QB, and you can check. The future looks great.
That's in the teammate shit. That's the problem. It's not Pickett's.
I mean, if you put some talent around him, I think he'll do even better. Future looks great. I feel he's a good dude. I'm hoping the best for him. So, beating Jeff Sunday is a good sign. But I mean,
A good sign.
good sign that you're not being embarrassed by the Colts is it's a good sign.
A win is a
You're
win.
better. I mean, you're better than Matt Ryan. That's good. So I mean, I like Kenny Pickett. I saw some things. I saw some bad things where he would flail under pressure earlier in the season, but I think
Yeah.
he's hitting a little bit of a stride. And I stand by this that I saw him against the Bengals. I felt like he had a decent game, and I think he is a franchise QB for the Steelers.
Okay, well, what do you think there, Jalen?
I have to agree. I wouldn't say Derek Carr, because I think that's giving him a bit too much, giving Pickett a bit too much credit. But I will say I think he's kind of similar to good old Mac Jones, where the ceiling is sort of low, but if you give him some time, they can both develop to be a good quarterback. I don't know about great. Like if either one of them give him enough weapons around them, I think they be very good quarterbacks. On Monday, I mean, he looked all right. Nothing special. It just helped that he was going against a team that needs to be relegated out of the NFL entirely. But that's neither here nor there. So my answer is yes. I think that the Colts offensively, I mean, I don't know if you guys were watching the beginning of that game, but Matt Ryan's first pass should have been intercepted. His second pass was intercepted. His third pass, I believe, was incomplete. His fourth pass, I think, was incomplete as well. Like it was pretty bad, and that was the entire fourth quarter of the Colts, or not fourth. The first quarter of the Colts offense was just those four absolute dickery. Yeah, so that's what Kenny Pickett was up against. So I say yes. G Money in the chat. Shout out G Money. He says, I believe Pickett will be the quarterback of the Steelers for the next 5 years. So there's that.
Years. So that means that he doesn't think he is a franchise quarterback. Because if you got a franchise quarterback, he's at least sticking around for 10.
Yeah.
I actually like the Derek Carr comparison a little bit, Nestor. Were you aware that there was another Carr that was a quarterback in the NFL before Derek Carr? Did you know that? Are you old enough for that, Nestor? No? Okay. I'm old, so I know this. David Carr was the first overall draft pick in the franchise history of the Houston Texans before Derek Carr. David Carr was more talented than his brother Derek, more highly touted. No talent around him. Ended up washing out of the NFL, I think, in 5 years. Now he's an analyst, I think, on ESPN. Derek Carr, you see him actually putting up numbers when he has talent around him. Now, this year, notwithstanding, but I think it was 2019 or 2018 before he broke his ankle that he was having a really good year. But it's all about the talent. So far, Kenny Pickett this year, 3 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. That's not good. Mitch Trubisky had 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in 3 starts. But I think what we have to ask ourselves is it a product of the talent around him? Which I think speaks to a bigger problem that Pittsburgh actually has in the division. Like, I think they're the least talented team in the entire division. And that, I'm not meaning that as disrespect, Shaq. I'm just trying to be honest. I think that Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Baltimore all have more talented rosters around their quarterbacks. But if you can get more talent around them, you know, what were we all thinking about Josh Allen 2 years into the league?
Bust,
right? What were we thinking about Jalen Hurts going into this year?
Bust, yeah.
Not that much, right?
Yeah.
So you put the talent around him, and things can happen. Najee Harris needs to step up. They need a running game. They need a better O-line. And so could he be the franchise quarterback of the future? I don't think it's so much as dependent on him as it is dependent on the rest of the roster around him. If they don't get more talented people around him, I think he'll be a backup after 4 years. That's just my opinion. But yeah. Moving on to a subject that I don't want to talk about, but Jalen put it on here, so we have to talk about it, people. The Raiders beat the beats off my Seahawks 40-34 in overtime, thanks to a Josh Jacobs practice scrimmage run of 86 yards and overtime with 3 minutes 26 seconds left. I don't think he even got touched. So I'm going to ask you guys, and then I'm going to answer this question in the own way that I know how without trying to break shit. What do you think is my Seahawks' biggest problem right now? One reason, go Nestor.
Man, that was a fun game.
It was.
To watch the highlights because I didn't watch it because I was busy being banned from Colombia. So, so many interceptions, but Gino played good. Gino was doing good, in my opinion. Damn. I think somebody on the maybe Malin can help me out on this, but I think it was I don't know. I don't want to say a name. Somebody said on the Steelers team that they thought they had fixed the defense, but they find out they haven't.
You mean the Seahawks?
The Seahawks, yeah.
Oh, the Seahawks.
And maybe looking at the Raiders and what they did, and how this man wasn't touched, and he had a fucking amazing game.
Yeah,
Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I think it's their defense. And if you face a team that they're not a terrible team, but they haven't put it all togetger.
They're terrible.
They have a game where they put it all together. You find out that they can beat you. And especially if your defense isn't, hasn't gotten fixed. So maybe I think that's the problem.
Before I move on to Jalen, I would just like to point out, because you say the game was fun. You know what I was doing on Sunday? I was stuck on I-75 in traffic on a 14-hour drive, watching this game on my cell phone, losing my shit. Like, it's a good thing I had all my guns in the back of the car, because I would have just started shooting cars. Like, not aiming at people, just putting holes in doors. And then, you know what the bitch of the whole thing was? At the start of the fourth quarter, all of a sudden my NFL Sunday ticket said, you can't watch this game anymore. It's blacked out. Because I got into the Tampa market and it was on CBS. So then I couldn't even watch the whole game. So then I had to watch it on NFL Red Zone, and knowing that one of the teams was in the Red Zone, they still weren't showing the goddamn game on the Red Zone. So I was kicking the shit out of the dashboard of my wife's Durango, losing my mind. And I got home just in time to watch the last minute and a half of the fourth quarter and then overtime. So that was I wouldn't consider that fun, Esther. I don't think that's very fun. But I digress. I'm pretty sure. You both said it was fun.
I just second.
Both of you agreed. He's like, yeah, this was fun. Yeah. So Jalen, what do you think is my Seahawks problem?
I think specifically on the defensive side of the ball, right now, you guys just cannot stop the damn run. And
Reach.
I mean, Vegas ran for 283 whopping yards. I mean, a lot of that was Josh Jacobs just in one tear. And then the week before, Tampa ran for 166, which is, okay. But, Tampa could never run the ball at all up until that point. But, I mean, up until just these last couple of weeks, you guys have been pretty damn good at stopping the run for the most part. But, yeah, just these past couple of weeks, not being able to stop the run is a really, really bad sign, or a really, really bad precursor to they're about to just light you up with the passing game. If they have receivers like Devontae Adams, and you've got a quarterback like Derek Carr, or in Tampa's case, Mike Evans, Godwin, Tom Brady, like when you got both sides of the offense going in the air and on the ground, you really, really cannot let a team just run all over you. And right now, the Seahawks have got to find a way to stop the damn run. So that's where I'm at.
Well, listen, when we go on old school Pentecostal days here, when a preacher starts spitting fire like that, you got to fan them off. They're getting too hot, because that's exactly the goddamn point that I'm going to get to after I get the Shaq's big ass head over here. What are you drinking over there, Shaq? What is that?
Triple? Is that what you call it?
What?
Yes.
Okay.
And the clap.
Man of stature.
So Shaq's over here drinking cornstarch and purple nurples. Okay, so Shaq, what is wrong with my goddamn Seattle Seahawks?
I ain't good. Their opinion of your defense on worst enemy right now. I watched that game partially towards the end. I really wanted to text him in, but I was like, you know what? For my own safety,
I would have found you. I am a man of many skills, Shaq.
I
found your ass.
Pass into my house and beat me. No, I was like, I'm gonna let that man go through it right now. But I too have game and loss, so it's all right.
I literally, after 14 hours of being in the car and then watching that 86-yard run, I sat on my couch in my house in silence for like 15 minutes. I didn't even let my wife talk to me. She was like, "Are you gonna unload the car?" And I just I just don't say a word.
Like someone just died.
Yeah, I needed a moment, and then I promptly unloaded the car and hit my shin on every goddamn thing I could in the garage, unloading everything, and just came outside and smoked a cigar and had like 8 drinks before I had to go to work the next day, because I was that pissed off about that game. But no, it has to be the run game for 2 reasons. One, we can't run it anymore. I don't know what the fuck happened to Kenneth Walker. Like, it's almost like he's a heat seeker for the opposing team's jersey. He was like, "Oh, there's an away jersey. Let me run into it." And then the second one is we can't stop the run. A team that averaged 65 yards a game in the Bucs rushes for 166 on us.
Yeah.
And then the Raiders and Josh Jacobs is now the number 1 rushing leader because he broke off for 229 yards at 6.9 average and 2 touchdowns. They ran for 283 yards, I mean, Derek Carr was trying to throw interceptions. Now, did you guys see the play, the very first play, where Diggs picked it off and Darrell Taylor on the sideline got so goddamn excited he ran on the field and started blocking people? Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
He ran on the field because I think he thought the play was over, and when he realized it was live, he was like, I got to blend in and block somebody. I was like, if that's not emblematic of my Seahawks year so far, that we are this deep into the year and we are talking about the defense being the problem and not the offense. Like, we were all making fucking jokes about Geno Smith being the quarterback.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're like, no, the offense is great. It's all the defense. And Pete Carroll's supposed to be known for defense. So maybe he should take a Nike Monarch shoe, Air Force One, and shove it up someone's ass and get some people, fired up here and stop chewing some fucking chewing gum and just get this defense playing again, because it's kind of ticking me off. So before I start having flashbacks to 14 hours on the road after Thanksgiving, that was a lot of fun, people. I hope a lot of people that caused that traffic died, by the way. I really do. I hope there were fatalities, and that's why I didn't get home. So, anyways. News. We got some news, people. We got some shit to talk about over here.
Today's
You know
top
why?
stories and breaking news.
We got Deshaun Massage Watson making his Browns debut. Where else but Houston?
Realities did Deshaun Watson give me?
Because the NFL loves drama, so they based his entire suspension on when he was going to be playing his broke ass old team.
Yeah.
So this man's last game that he played in the NFL was January 3rd, 2020. Where? In Houston, where he threw for 365 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception against Tennessee, where they won 41-38. Now, after a 2.5-year hiatus, because he can't keep his hands off of massage people, he's coming back home with a big old ass paycheck. So, Shaq, I'm going to go with you first here. What do you think about Deshaun Watson, his debut game in a Browns uniform, being against his old squad in Houston? And let's not forget, he's going to have 10 of his accusers in the stands. Like, I wish to God that the Houston Texans would let them bring massage tables out on the sideline. Just put them in the end zone, just start massaging people. I think it'd be great. But anyways, Chad, what do you think about Deshaun Watson coming back playing his old squad?
I honestly think that he is not going to do that well. Honestly, I feel like once again all these off-field things are going to come back and hit him once again, and because he knows he's in the spotlight and everybody's just hoping for him to perform really well, it's going to fumble. This can only lead to more problems, because you know why? This man's going to become sore, his muscles going to hurt, and you know what's going to bring him? 2 massage tables. Problem.
I'm just throwing that out there, Shaq, that you said like things are going to hit him again. I think that the reason why I got in trouble is because he was the one doing the hitting. But I digress. Jalen, what do you think?
I want to
Deshaun Watson coming back.
spotlight some G Money just put in the chat. He says that I understand that in honor of Deshaun Watson coming back to Houston, Houston is offering 2-for-1 massage coupons for all the fans in the stadium. I think it's just gold that at least or roughly 10 of these women are going to be at the game. It's just kind of funny. Like, imagine you finally go back to work, and then 10 people that cost you from being at work are now there watching you work.
It's also one of the reasons why the NFL is the best reality show on TV. Like, they script the best things. They had the Seahawks and the Broncos week 1
right.
with Russell Wilson going back to Seattle. They got Deshaun Watson. Like, I would love for Deshaun Watson just to walk out in pregame with like a white robe on, like that you would get in the massage parlor. Just walk out in a white robe and start throwing some passes. Just hit them with it, man. Just give us the optics of that. But Nestor, how excited are you for this game?
I'm really excited. I think he's gonna have an amazing game. I think they're not gonna like that he's gonna have an amazing game.
No.
I think I was reading an article and somebody said that it's uh it's not okay that this game is being played in Houston, or like something about the schedule. Like this was like not supposed to happen. Like they're complaining about it, and I'm like, this is great TV.
Right.
This is absolutely great TV.
Wonderful.
So yeah, I hope he has a great game. I mean, I have a lot of
No.
thoughts on this.
Why?
Why
Okay,
not?
but why
do you
why
not
do
wanna
you
have a
hope
great-
he why do
Why
you
not?
hope he has a great game?
I'm not hoping. I think he's gonna have a great game. I'm not trying to get canceled.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Statistically,
You don't want him to have a great game, but you just think he will.
I'm not saying I want him to have a good game.
Okay, I was about to say,
You know
I
what?
swear to God, I just heard Nestor say, I hope he has a great game.
No, I
I
hope
was
he
like, I'm
has
pretty
an
sure those
amazing
words
game.
just came out of his
Damn.
hand. I'm starting to
Didn't hope he has a
understand why
great
Nestor.
game. I hope he has an amazing game.
I'm starting to see why Nestor got banned from Colombia. This man is about to just. Like, it's one thing for me to want to nuke a city. There's another thing when Nestor's like, you know what? Screw sexual assault. I hope this man balls out.
I didn't say that.
Allegedly.
Did I say that?
I hope he gets a bonus. I hope he gets a bonus. I
He's
mean,
I
had
hope he
plenty
has
of
an ama- I
bonuses.
mean,
He had 24
Yeah,
bonuses.
he
I
had,
just
he
think
had,
he's
he
gonna
had
have an
plenty of
amazing
happy
game.
endings
I hope
already.
he has an amazing game. But
Did Nestor pick him up in fantasy football? Like, I'm just trying to figure out what's driving the ship here on the hoping that Massage Watson gets like a huge game here.
did he work in massage with him too? Is that why you like him so much? He hyped this man up so much. This man needs a bad game.
you know what?
It'll make it fun.
I think. Look, getting banned from Colombia taught me something. Even though Colombia is the best like exporter of cocaine, I'm gonna tell you guys something. Nobody consumes sex, cocaine, or guns better than the U.S. So you know what, Deshaun, have a great game.
All right, well, so Nestor just gave us some sort of preview of the movie Scarface. So that was neat. You guys go ahead and watch that when you're done watching this show. Let's get into some other bit of news here on the world stage because Nestor's stuck in the U.S. now. The U.S. beat Iran. That's right, I said it. Iran. I'll mispronounce it. I don't give a shit.
Freedom.
Come at me, people, with your dirty ass bombs and disrespecting women. So we beat Iran to advance to the round of 16, 1-0. Nestor, I'm going to start with you because I know that you are a soccer, football, whatever. G Money would kill me right now. He would slap the shit out of me if he heard me call it soccer. But if I start saying football, people that listen to the show are going to be confused.
Yeah.
So, Nestor, I'm going to start with you. What do you think is the significance of U.S. getting out of the group stage and getting to the round of 16, the knockout stage?
I kind of expected them to get out of that group just because they have a good squad. And the U.S. has really improved a lot. You see Mexico go out in the group stage, and then you see the U.S. get to the round of 16. And it's expected kind of because we've improved. We have guys that are, playing in Juventus. You got guys that are playing in Chelsea, and they're doing good. They're scoring goals. They're producing. So I feel like if we got a really good matchup because getting the Netherlands is this team that they're mid. And I'm not saying that in a meme type of way. They're just they're like okay by if you're looking at European teams. They're not Serbia bad, but they're kind of around the middle. They're not France. They're not
Germany or
Spain, Germany. They're kind of in the middle. And if we can beat this team, we're definitely getting eliminated by Argentina. But it'll show some good things.
Wait a minute.
Our football has gone a long way, and that's a really good sign, and I'm loving it. Pulisic is literally risking his balls out there for the team and scoring goals. So I love where U.S. Football is going.
Well, I would like to just point out just for a second that Nestor's acting like Messi has not been taking a huge dump on the World Cup stage his entire career.
Scored a
So
goal.
just to think that U.S. would not beat them. I'll go next, Jalen, on this one. I think it's big in the fact that they got out of the group stage because of the tie that they had with Wales in the first game. Because they were leading 1-0 in that game, 81st minute. Then they commit the penalty. Wales scores a goal off of a penalty kick, and it was a draw in a game that they were supposed to win. Oddly enough, and this is just how football is around the world, their 0-0 draw with England, I think, was actually the best game they played in the group stage.
Yeah.
Which is weird because nobody actually scored, but they played phenomenally. And I think that game alone shows that anything's possible in the knockout round. I don't know that they'll beat the Netherlands. I don't know how far they'll go in this, but I think that you have the youngest team of the World Cup right now, average age of 24. We have the World Cup in the United States in the next 4 years. I think you're setting yourself up really well with the home crowd and everything to get yourself into the quarterfinals in the next World Cup. Like, this World Cup is all about getting us to the next stage and the next one. And speaking of that, I'm really excited that Mexico got knocked out today. They're a bunch of bums, even though they're going to be having a couple World Cup games in Mexico City. You notice I said the United States and not North America because I really don't give a damn about Mexico or Canada. Most of the games are being played in the U.S. And Mexico is like hot trash, which is what's floating in all their rivers and streams right now. So go ahead, Jalen. You got any thoughts on the U.S. beating Iran?
By the way, the fact that Mexico was talking all that smack to Argentina, and Argentina is basically the team that knocked them out.
Yeah.
Because even them beating Saudi Arabia did nothing for them.
Yeah.
So
that's man, karma.
Thanks to Messi, by the way, Malin.
All right.
Yeah, I was wrong about that. But yeah, I mean, hell, I just like it when Mexico loses. I think the whole world wins when Mexico loses. So
yeah, definitely.
So I don't think it's very significant that we got out of the group stage. It's not like this is the first time it's happened. G wanted to set the same thing in the chat. If we get out of this round, if we beat the Netherlands, then it's like, all right, okay, like here we go. But mainland, I do agree 1,000%. This young core that we have here, something to build off of. It'll be interesting to see where these guys are at a few years from now, when it's here when the World Cup is here in the States. G Money also mentioned a very good point that this team doesn't really have any true strikers. I think that is really hurting them when it comes to their attack because if we do beat Netherlands, it'll be by the skin of our teeth, and I don't see how we will be able to go any further when it's like, I mean, you just have to be able to score goals. Like the defensive standoffs aren't going to get the job done. I do want to ask though, beating Iran, can anybody name or just pronounce any of the Iran players' last names?
Taremi.
Okay.
That's it. That's all
Let's
I can.
pick the easiest one. Outside of Taremi. Can any of you guys
no, I mean I'm purposely mispronouncing the country's name. Why would I know how to pronounce any of their names of the players?
Did you
I'm
see that
purposely
press
not
conference?
saying the name correctly.
No.
Oh yeah, okay. I will say this: it is nothing. Only America will disrespect another country by taking images off of their flag to disrespect them going into a game, and then be like, "Oh, no harm, no foul. We didn't really mean to do it, but you treat women like shit, so that's why we did it." And I just think it's really great about America because, listen, I love America. I'm about as patriotic as you get. I think we do have revisionist history, though. I mean, women have not always been allowed to vote. In fact, we're voting in measures right now that mean that women aren't even controlling their own bodies. They can't even have abortions if they want to. But we're going to go ahead and talk about another country and the way that they treat women. So I just think it was kind of funny that we did what we did, and that the U.S. players had to answer to some dumbass on Twitter just taking off an emblem on the Iranian flag. And I'm still not going to pronounce the country correctly because I just think it's hilarious. But you would just have to think, like, how butthurt would Americans be if Iran showed an image of the American flag and took all 50 stars off of it? You know what I mean? Like, people would lose their minds. And if Trump was president, he probably would have shot off a nuke. So, I mean, that probably would have happened. We'd be like, well, we were here for a sport, and now we're just in a global catastrophe because some dumbass on Twitter. But Shat, you got any thoughts on the U.S. in Iran?
Like, yes, have goes around by like the true test comes this next round come through. And if anything that USA has talked about when it comes to us in competitive sports with other countries, a prime example is USA basketball. For some reason, whenever US is in a competitive scene with other countries in a sport that other sports actually take part and do well in, we also don't do well in. I'm just saying, USA basketball not so strong. USA soccer might be a little bit iffy when we get to this next round.
Hold on.
Wait a minute.
Are you comparing our soccer to our basketball team?
I feel like Shaq's head just went back to 1988 before we had the Dream Team. What exactly is wrong with the USA basketball team? I think we haven't taken the gold 2 times since 1988. We've taken the gold every other time.
I'm just saying that the USA soccer we're not going to be expected to go. It's like, yes, if we make it past the next round, good for us, but there's a lot of countries that take soccer a lot more serious than America does, unfortunately. So
they do, but there has been a surge in soccer in America. This is why I think that this World Cup and them getting out of the group stage is significant, because I understand that we've gotten out of the group stage before, right? But when we didn't make the World Cup in 2018, like, they tore it all down. Tore it all down. And we've never had 5 players on the U.S. men's national team playing overseas in the Premier League and other leagues like that, like we have now. Our talent has never been up to par in playing in those types of leagues. And we actually have players over there now, and they're very young, and they're doing well. And so that's why I think that it's important. It was very important for us to get out of the group stage. Like, we could not stumble and fall in the group stage this year. I think that would have been detrimental to the United States soccer program. So, moving on, we got to talk a little bit of basketball here on the news. Karl Anthony Towns is going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. I think it is it a calf strain? Is that what it is? Did he hurt his calf? Did he go out there and kick a cow? Is that what he did? So he's going to be out a while. What do you guys think that that this is going to do to him and his squad going forward for the next 6 weeks before the All-Star break?
I'll go first on this one. I honestly think that is going to actually help them, because right now the T-Wolves, their offense is really stagnant. I think it's just because they're too big in the paint, and Ant-Man said it himself. Like, he kind of indirectly was, hinting at it, but it's hard to get into the paint and score the damn ball because Gobert is there now, and it just clogs things up. Everybody thought they were going to be really dominant in the paint on offense, but not really. It's just slowed things down and made it harder for the T-Wolves to run an offense. So now that Cat is out for a little while, I think that it'll open things up for Ant-Man to slash the hoop, or D'Lo to slash the hoop. So I think it'll help them out a lot offensively, and they're going to be stuck in a situation a month and a half from now where they're like, we did go on a little streak here when Cat was gone. So what should we do with this lineup? And they gave up a lot to get Gobert. They gave up a whole farm to get him. So I feel like the T-Wolves are going to be in a very strange situation when he's healthy again. But I think this is for the better.
I mean, yeah, that's a good take because maybe it does help them because the Wolves are I think they have the third worst NBA offense per 100 possessions.
Yep.
So maybe without him, they can think about being better without when he's not on the floor. So they're even better defensively when he's on the floor.
Yeah.
So maybe that will help them out. So I agree. That's a good take.
What about you, Shaq?
I think for the first few games, of course, it's going to be very rough for them because that adjustment period of not having, they're like kind of like number one there. But like I agree with Jalen that after a couple weeks or so, they will get into a groove and they'll be like, you know what, we found our spot now. We're gonna have to find a way to adjust to having you back and throw you back in the roster, but you don't necessarily need to rely on you to always be on the floor now. So it's going to be a rough adjustment period for them, of course, but I feel like it can be beneficial if they adjust quickly enough and with good coaching. So,
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's going to make a damn bit of difference this NBA season.
Yeah.
At best, Minnesota is going to be playing in the playing game. Think about it. You got Phoenix, Denver, New Orleans, Memphis, the Clippers, Sacramento, Portland, Utah, Golden State, and Dallas all ahead of them. They're sitting out at number 11 right now in the West. Now they lost their best player. And I usually can agree that you can have addition by subtraction. But in the NBA, like, you're better when your best players are on the court, for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, Memphis last year was able to maintain when Ja was out, but they weren't better when he was out. I just think Minnesota's a flawed team. And so even if they do play good for 6 weeks and it comes back, at best they'll probably finish 8th or 9th in the West. Does anyone really think that Minnesota is going to do something in the West this year after what you've seen so far?
I've seen enough already, no.
Yeah. So kick your legs up, Cat, and enjoy Christmas, man. Like, just have a good holiday, Chief. If you're gonna strain a calf and kick a cow, you might as well do it now. So, anyways, people, that's gonna do it for the news. We're gonna go ahead and head into the break here. When we come back, we're gonna hope to be better. We're not gonna guarantee. In fact, we're probably not gonna be. I think we're taking on water as it is. So, Shaq, start inflating your head a little bit more. We'll be back in a few minutes.
See ya.
that was great. So flawed show.
So how'd I do in the first half there, Jay? Did I do okay? Okay. Now the social media plug. I don't have anything for that. Do you want to take the social media plug and then I'll lead us into the L's?
Hey there, after further review fans.
Okay,
we got
because
a
you have all
question
the info for the
for
social
you
media
that's
plug, right?
bigger than Shaq's goddamn forehead.
Okay.
So here we go.
And you just exhausted the
in
battery
your
once
opinion,
again, Jalen,
is the
on the
most
damn camera.
underrated
Can we
player
not
heading into this year's NFL season?
figure out this?
Is it a kicker like Justin Tucker? Is it a wide receiver like Keenan Allen?
God.
Is it backup running back on your
Honestly,
favorite
like,
team that probably
battery
sucks?
exhausted.
You let us know who is the most underrated player in this NFL season, and we'll let Shaq know.
That was some good timing, though. It was like 5 seconds once we went into break, and bam, it was gone.
Oh, what a time! What a time!
I would also like to point out, Jalen, that it's 10:33 It's not bad. All right, so Jalen, can you hear me? Jalen.
Who led the AFC in reception yards?
Tyreek Hill.
Incorrect.
Just say an answer. Somebody.
Jalen.
Who is Jamar Chase?
There we go. 200 to G Money.
NFC for 200.
This person led the NFC in reception.
Who is Cooper Cup?
Correct.
Alex, I'll take your mother for 200.
This team had 3 players on the top playoff reception leaders list.
Buffalo Bills.
Incorrect.
Who are the Los Angeles Rams?
Incorrect.
Is Kansas
What made you want to put the
City?
Steelers jersey on?
Correct.
Shaq, you don't know what they're like team
How many
guards.
points was that?
This
Like, you know
person
what?
led
Even
the
though I'm
Bills
upset
in
about it, I'm
playoff
gonna go ahead and
reception
represent. Put it
yards.
on.
Come on, man. There's a number. I know it's 13.
Oh, you did get it right.
Jalen.
Yes.
Gabriel Davis.
God damn it. Yes,
Jalen.
1,000 from right under Shaq's nose.
So I'll bring it
We're over here guessing jersey numbers.
Did you know AFR is also on
the,
Spotify and Apple
social media
Podcasts?
thing. And so
Click
I
the
will
first
disregard
link
the
in the
other part that you put in
description
the chat
below
about
to
social
listen to
media.
the most recent episode of the
I'll
show.
let you
You
handle that
cannot
part.
dispute it, man. I have a more complete team than you.
I already given it to you, Malin. I already said you have the best squad out here.
Money.
I heard you, and that took a lot for you to say.
Squad
You
out.
had a lot of
You have the
error
most
and
complete team, but I wouldn't say you have the best team.
team is better.
Mine.
All right.
Hey Jay, did we
Ignorance.
beat the Heat
Oh, y'all,
tonight?
ignorance.
Shaq still thinks this team is good.
Yeah,
He has
right.
Bam out of by
Yeah,
with
we
James
put that
Harden.
in there.
But so James Harden is still good, okay?
All right, tell the 76ers that.
Y'all took my first 2 or 3 big
what
men
was
that
the
I wanted.
score?
Stop it. Besides my, y'all,
You had the first pick.
I know, but I didn't think y'all were gonna choose big men heavy off the jump off the big.
Well, he was the MVP.
In the NBA, there's not a lot of big men in the NBA.
I assumed y'all were gonna be those type of people who go choose guards and forwards
What's
heavy.
up,
So I was like,
G-Money?
maybe I have
Oh,
at least
dude,
one. I had at least
man,
one
where you
round.
You thought we were all stupid, huh?
No, that's all I said.
I mean,
I
you're
thought-
all dumb as him.
I understand that we're going to be launching some
I would just like to point out one more
navigate
time
his forehead.
that
But, you
Shaq
know,
and What's Up With That
I
was
mean-
trying to sell us.
On
But
Zion.
that's true,
This
man.
man
You're not in
looks
like
he slimmed
witness
down. I
protection,
could put on a little bit of
dude.
muscle tone and can actually
This
be
man got some balls.
like a a powerhouse of a center.
On freaking
And
Zion.
here we are.
And never
And here we are.
And y'all would
we needed a pick. You never
y'all would
have
have judged me for picking Zion. Zion has not played in almost 2 seasons.
You
That man has not played basketball in about 2 seasons. Don't let me pick this man.
That man went with Odebayu over Zion.
Yes.
That's-
You know why? Because that man played.
Shaq, why are you at
Shaq's
home?
a sly dude. This dude talking
but
about.
Zion-
Hey, come on, look at Zion. Look at how
I
good
try
he
to
is.
sell you.
Come on, look at him. I ain't trying to have.
I am
no,
the
me.
used car salesman in the basketball world.
You don't have to
Look at
go
him.
anywhere except
He's there.
pass out in the bedroom.
You got a family of 5? I can stick them in here. Family of 5. Drive around town.
Yeah, but when
What you
Shaq
did-
drives home drunk, it's more common.
You
Like,
you had two choices. There was like a 2020 Tesla that was broke down outside of the road that just needed to do
Yeah, in
battery
other
in
words.
Zion, and you went for the '86 Buick Cutlass. Like,
Shaq has
that's
those,
what you
like,
did.
orange
Like,
flags
you went
on
for
each
old
end of his car,
reliable.
like,
Like this
Wow.
man wasn't
Down
the
there.
third best team. Wasn't on the third best team in the NBA this past season.
Can we stop with
my
the
God.
third best team statistic?
Why are we hating on me for choosing LeBron as like one of y'all wouldn't have chosen LeBron if it was still available?
Shaq had the first pick, and I knew 12 hours ago he was taking LeBron James.
True or untrue? Would y'all have chosen LeBron if he was still available at some point in a team?
That was just a
Stop
few years
lying to
ago.
me. Stop lying
I
to
would
me.
not have taken LeBron. Nope.
Why y'all sit here bold-faced lying to me? This is not an audio podcast. This is video. People are watching us.
hold on. My first two
Well,
picks were Giannis and Joker, and they still would have been my first two picks.
Yep.
If LeBron James is still available.
But would you have not chosen LeBron if he was still available at some point? Nope.
Maybe a third pick, but that would have been like pick 12. Number 1.
Okay.
Come on.
If I could have
You
any
got
two
two
picks, I would have
jobs, man.
taken the
Get
same
the
as
coke
me
out
as
of your ass
Giannis and
and smoke
Jokic's
shots.
first two.
It was
Because
great.
No.
Episode
That's
90.
the
Thank you y'all for watching.
Shut it down.
Shaq
That's
Six
gotta be
Man would
pouring
have
the
been the
shots,
barbershop
right?
show that LeBron
Yeah.
James does. That would have been.
Used
He's taking the
I
shot number
He'd
6.
have taken the shot. That would have been the 6th pick. He probably thought that came with LeBron James.
Like, hold on, Shaq
that.
does not.
Feel that shit.
And Nike shoes and
Better
Blaze
do a
Pizza.
mailer for it.
I get the LeBron 12s. I don't even know if LeBron has 12 shoes, but he gets LeBron 12s.
I don't know, Shaq tried to close the show out 2 minutes ago.
And here we are, still roasting me for another 2 minutes after trying to close the show out.
40-second countdown.
Show.
Nestor took Rudy Gobert. We're racking on shit.
Likes the show. That's why we still here.
This is why I try to. This is why I try to close the show out.
For LeBron.
Remember to follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at AFR Sports.
I know, crazy.
That's it, AFR
That's
Sports.
hurtful.
Now back to the show with your hosts, Jalen,
about
Shaquille,
me
and
again?
Waylon.
G-Money. Oh, hello. All right, welcome back for the second half of episode 112 of After Further Review, gentlemen. We got a familiar face here with us in the second half. G-Money, how we doing, buddy?
Man, we're doing good. How you doing? How's Jalen? How's Shaq and Nestor, my best friend, the mammal molester? How are ya?
I think that nickname's gonna stick. No, we've been doing pretty good. Nestor's banned from Colombia. I'm looking at an air vent above Shaq's head. I think that's where Nestor hands all his contraband. But other than that, we're doing pretty good here. We have not been canceled yet. That's why we're still back for the second half. So with that, gentlemen, let's go ahead. Yeah, you got canceled by a whole country. Nestor, that's saying something because I haven't been canceled by a country. And Shaq can't be canceled by a country. His head's got a visa for like every country.
Yeah.
So
world-renowned diplomat.
he's about to bust out Brittany Griner just by twitching his head like this, like knock shit out of the wall of prison in Russia. So, all right, gentlemen, time for our second half shot here. Best way we know
Come on,
how.
Shaq, go get Brittany out of there real quick.
There we go. So, G-Money, I know that Shaq is drinking cornstarch, and Jalen and Nestor are drinking Four Roses. I'm having me some Eagle Rare that I got from the Buffalo Trace Distillery. What are you sipping on tonight, sir?
I'm sipping on some Old Forester 1920.
Oh, that's a good bottle.
It is a good bottle.
My bottle is that. I need to get me another one.
We're gonna have to get you another one.
Yeah. That's why we need the studio, because people over at the hub over there are drinking Miller Lite and other dog stuff, and Shaq's over there drinking cornstarch.
Pretty sure that the Roy gets all of that.
Should be. But anyways, gentlemen, I'm going to pass it off to you for the social media plug there.
Yes, if you guys would like to do us the what am I talking about? If you would like to be privileged enough to follow us on social media, it is at AFR Sports. That's on Instagram and TikTok. It is very simple, all one word, no hyphens, no doesn't matter the capitalization, no weird underscores. It's just all one at AFR Sports. You can vote in polls, which we will have another one come next episode. You can weigh in on what we think our teams are going to be doing this weekend. You can also share your opinion on our betting picks, which will be giving here in just a little while. The news, all that fun stuff, we post it in micro forms throughout the week, so you can use that as your little platform to share your own opinion on the things that we speak on every week. So that is at AFR Sports. It's the first link down in the YouTube description. If you're listening to this, it's like a couple links down in the podcast description. So there's that.
You can totally tell that shot kicked Jalen's ass the entire time he was talking there. Like his chest was hurting. It was on fire. But listen, there's no better reason to plug into our social media, people, because we're going to be putting out polls and videos. And what better way to track the size of Shaq's head, the gray of my beard, and Nestor's receding hairline than to jump on and see the videos and read the polls and vote with us. We don't know what the hell we're doing, so you give us some input.
Right.
Speaking of polls and what we do in life, let's talk about some L's of the week, gentlemen. This is my favorite subject. So, Sam Darnold. Anybody remember Sam Darnold? Anybody remember he was actually still in the NFL? I forgot. But him and the Panthers decided to start him again and went out and beat the Broncos 23-10. What are your thoughts on another fat L that the Broncos laid down, giving G Money and I Seahawks a top 3 pick in the NFL right now? Love it. What do you guys think? We'll start with G Money on this one.
Well, I love it. I mean, I seriously do. We're going to get minimum a top 5 pick. Number 5 pick, number 4 pick, probably number 3 pick. Because let's face it, not only has Russell Wilson 2.0 been a bigger flop than Pepsi Now, but it's everybody hates him. I mean, everybody hates him. We didn't hate him up here, and 10 years from now, when we induct him in the Ring of Honor, we'll love him. And actually, we kind of love him right now. Why? Because he sucks so bad that we're going to get a top 5 draft pick. Whether we take a quarterback or a D lineman makes no difference. You know what the Broncos are going to get? Nothing. Except a huge fucking salary cap hit if they want to trade him or cut him. They are fucked.
I love the fact that you bring up the draft pick again, because I would love for the Seahawks to take that top 5 pick. Someone else is going to need a quarterback. Get a couple more picks. Get another first-round pick in the draft. Draft somebody. Use our pick to draft somebody. Then I really hope that we get Michael Penix in the second round of the Seahawks, the Washington Husky quarterback. I really like Michael Penix right now. I think Caleb Williams, Stroud. I think Bryce Young he just seems fragile to me in the college ranks. Yeah. Ohio State quarterbacks don't do anything in the NFL. So I'm really excited about the options. Well, I mean, Justin Fields is the only one, but he's more of a running back taking the snap, but he's got a dislocated shoulder right now, dislocated shoulder. So what do you guys think?
You're not buying any of that CJ Stroud stock?
No, I'm not. If I had it, I would just wipe my ass with it. It's not worth anything. It's about as useful as toilet paper in a non-COVID year.
It's down right now. It's down. But
yeah, we're not buying all the toilet paper off the shelves right now, people. So what do you guys think about the current situation with the Broncos right now? So let's go with Shaq. I see that head thinking something.
It's comical. So hyped up and so much money just be god awful. It's like, so y'all paying to lose is what y'all telling me. And no respect to another co-host on this channel, I'm like, who did y'all lose to again? Yeah. Just like yeah, to the Panthers, ball teams. And y'all got Russell.
Speak up.
No, I'm just saying y'all lost this year.
Hey,
That's all I'm saying.
I don't know who that shot was
Speak
at, but
up.
all right.
Whoever you are, speak up right now.
I felt like Shaq just tried to carpet bomb us all, or napalm us, and I don't know that it hit any intended target. I don't know what we're talking about.
All I'm
But
saying is shame on them for spending that much money and still be a fucking team.
yeah, I mean that is true. Hey, Adam Schefter over there, aka Nestor on the phone over there. Well, what do you think about the Broncos right now taking a big old fat L?
That's no surprise that the Panthers beat the Broncos. They beat the Falcons before that, so I would have been more surprised if they didn't beat the Broncos. Wasn't Russell Wilson arguing with the defensive?
Yes.
Wasn't he arguing with?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't so much of an argument as the defense player, and I forget the guy's name. I should know this stuff. I forget his name. Money, do you know his name? You normally know this. I don't know it. I think
I don't actually.
Yeah. Oh, Patel. I think it was Patel.
Patel, defensive end.
And he got into Russell Wilson's face and screamed at him, telling him, let's fucking go. Even though he was the one that committed the unsportsmanlike penalty that put him in the field goal range before the kick field goal. So, yeah, he was mad. And then, Russell Wilson just, took it like a bitch. He was just like, no, I got you, man. I understand we suck. We're terrible. And he said the same thing at the press conference. He's like, no, we ain't got no animosity. And the funniest part about that whole clip was that Nathaniel Hackett was right there.
Yep.
And just pretended like he didn't hear any of it. He was like, nah, man.
Between them.
I gotta go. Yeah, he was looking at his play sheet like, how am I gonna fuck up the play clock on this thing here? So yeah, that was great. I'm gonna go before you, Jalen, really quick. I think the funniest thing about this game is that the Broncos are the only team outside of the Houston Texans not to score over 24 points this year.
Wow.
Paying your quarterback $252 million.
We're only a quarter.
This is why you don't pay quarterbacks that you trade for big money before they ever play a snap in the regular season for you. I don't know what all those Let's Ride commercials that Russell Wilson was shooting in the offseason convinced him that he needed $252 million. But, listen to this. Okay. So here are the two quarterbacks. This is what their stats were. One was 19 to 35 for 142 yards and a touchdown, and one was 11 of 19, 164 yards and a touchdown. It doesn't matter who had what stats because one of them was still Sam Darnold. The other one was Russell Wilson. They had damn near identical stats. They're averaging 14.4 points a game. Russell Wilson still has 3 more bathrooms than he does touchdowns in the NFL. Not to mention the fact that Carson Wentz has more touchdowns than Russell Wilson, and he hasn't played in 6 weeks. So I just think it's funnier than shit, what's happening in Denver. So I don't know what it is that they're writing, but they're writing it into the depths of the sea, kind of where the show's going. So, Jalen, what do you think about this real quick?
I mean, just the fact that they lost to Sam Darnold, who we haven't seen in quite a while, but the Panthers are so desperate that they threw him in, says a lot. On the other hand, I think it's funny how when this trade first happened, everybody was saying, the team that gets the better players who won the trade. But man, oh man, now that looks really funny. And I think that the Denver Highway Patrol or maybe the Seattle Sheriff's Office, somebody needs to step in and find out where Russell Wilson is at, because this man is absolutely missing once the season actually started. He was all over the place. Couldn't get rid of him in the offseason with all of his Let's Ride and all his branding shit. But now, on the field, this man is a complete MIA. So we need to put out some flyers. We need to contact our local authorities. We need to find this man, Russell Wilson, because he's just been completely missing.
You want to know what else Russell Wilson's missing right now? Half his goddamn team at his birthday party that Sierra threw over the weekend. Like I think it was like Monday night. Only half the roster showed up at his birthday. Like I don't know I don't know what joke I should make about that because obviously the defense didn't show up because they hate him. But then the offense hasn't showed up all year long, so it would make sense for them not to show up to his birthday party. So, like, I don't know which half of the 53-man roster didn't show up, but only half of them showed up to his own birthday party. But I think the biggest problem with Russell Wilson is that he's just feeling himself too much. Like, he's too movie star famous. Like, he has his – how many NFL quarterbacks have their own office at the facility at the NFL team they work for? I know Russell Wilson does. Has his own office, probably bigger than Nathaniel Hackett's, and he probably has Nathaniel Hackett's office. Like Nathaniel Hackett's probably been put into like the film room or something, like the film storage room. So I don't know. I just think it's fun. I think it's great for the Seahawks. We're winning even when we lose, whenever the Broncos lose. So it is wonderful. So speaking of L's, and I love talking about this team whenever they're on the L's, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost to the Browns in overtime, 23-17. They were up 17-10 at half, and somehow 45-year-old divorced Tom Brady allowed Jacoby Brissett-led Browns to come back and whoop them. So, what do you guys think about this L?
I'll go first real quick here. So, I've mentioned before my neighbor, shout out to G, he's a big Kansas City fan. And Kansas City lost to Tampa a couple years ago in the Super Bowl. So, obviously, he's not a big fan of the Buccaneers. In fact, he's a very anti-Bucs person. So this Sunday, when the Bucs were playing, I could usually hear him from across the wall, like when the Chiefs were playing. But I knew the Chiefs weren't playing at the time. I'm like, what is he yelling about? Him and his wife. And then it wasn't until the game ended. I mean, they were literally going crazy. I was like, what? Chiefs aren't playing right now? What's going on? He was this happy that the Bucs lost to the Browns. They were watching the Bucs game, and they were ecstatic at the fact that the Bucs were losing. I just want to give a shout out.
We got to get this man on the show. That sounds like a man that I want to meet. Before we get to the studio, we need to do a show at your house and get all of us there, and we'll all sit down on the casting couch and talk to this man about some football, because anyone that gets that excited about the Bucs losing is a friend of mine. I'm about to write him in my will. He's not going to get much, but I'll write him in my will. Who else? Shaq. What do you think about the Bucs losing?
I am so happy. Unfortunately, it's to a divisional rival, but whatever. I'm so happy that they lost. The Bucs. Fuck Tampa Bay, whatever they want to go by. I still find it more depressing that the Bucs are still leading the division with a losing record of 5-6. That's the only thing I'm upset about. I was like,
awful.
Because the division is so bad, they're still doing good. Then it's very upsetting to watch. It's like, can somebody please win the game? Show these Bucs, please.
Wake up, Jesus.
I am still pulling for the best 0-2 team in the league, the Atlanta Falcons, to do something. But I don't think it's going to happen because Kyle Pitts just had surgery today. But yeah, the Bucs smell as bad as Kyle Pitts' armpit right now, just losing to the Browns. What do you think, Nestor?
Honestly, I agree with the people. I don't like Tampa, but I like Brady. I like divorced Tom, and I feel bad about that L. I agree with the people that what is his name? Todd Bowles.
Yeah,
mismanaged the clock. He definitely is responsible a lot for that L. And if you give Cleveland enough room, they're gonna beat you.
Yeah,
because they're a competent team. They're going to beat you.
Yeah.
Good point. They're bad, but they are competent.
I think any time that you give a Patriot great like Tom Brady an ex-New York Jet head coach. He was an ex-New York Jet head coach, right? Todd Bowles? He was, right? Didn't he coach the Jets? Okay. Byron Leftwich should have been the head coach of that team.
Yep.
Not Todd Bowles. I would love to see what Leftwich would be able to do with the squad, just not Tampa Bay. And I love the fact that this show is based in Tampa, yet there is so much vitriol and hate for the home teams here in Tampa. I love it so much because if America doesn't know, the Tampa Bay sports fans are the worst in America. They really are. Like they are the bottom feeders. If I could buy water from Flint, Michigan, and ship it down there and have them all drink it, I would do it. So, G Money, got any thoughts on this L that the Bucks took?
Well, like the rest of you, I'm glad that Humber Bay lost. They're in a weak division, though. They will probably land up winning the division and going to the playoffs because it is a weak division. Tampa's defense is a shadow of what it once was, and their offensive line doesn't exist. The only thing that keeps them going is the fact that, for some god-unknown reason, it's probably because he eats freaking babies, is that Tom Brady can get rid of the ball in like 2 seconds.
There you go. Listen, I can't talk too much trash about Tampa because it just beat my Seahawks in Germany the week before. All I can say is I get a lot of satisfaction and a whole lot of smiles. In fact, I even in a 14-hour trip with my wife put a couple of digs in there that the Bucks lost. And that wasn't smart because she was driving the car at that point. She could have killed us all. But I did it anyways because you need to take a shot when you can take a shot, people. So speaking of not taking shots and just getting shot, the Saints have turned back into the Aints of old, getting shut out by the Niners 13-0, laying a fat old goose egg out there. What do you guys think? What do you guys think it says about the Niners right now being 7-4 with that defense shutting out a team like the Saints?
I'm not gonna lie, I did not watch any of this game just because keeping up with the score, it clearly was not very compelling. But the fact that they were only able to manage 13 points on the Saints, that is one of the reasons why I like earlier in the show I didn't say that the Niners are the best team in the NFC because it's great that they shut out the Saints defensively, but offensively, I expected them to hang more than just 13 points on this team. So that's all I gotta really say.
Yeah, did my boy Alvin play? Alvin the Chipmunks? I wouldn't know. I know I took an L in fantasy, but it's probably because of him. Like Shaq says, Ronald Weasley. Did he play?
I'm pretty sure he did.
He did. That's a terrible team. I think they're worse than actually people think they are. They're really bad, and the fact that the Niners couldn't get more than 13 points on them says more about the Niners than it says about the Saints. So yeah, Saints are terrible, and yeah, that's good for Louisiana because they're known for their crabs, and I'm not talking about the crabs in the sea. So good for them. For having a horrible damn team. And you know what, Alvin Kamara? I hope it goes really bad for you in that court date.
First of all, Nestor, it's crawfish that they have in New Orleans. They're not getting a whole lot of crab out of the bowl.
The crabs that Nestor talking about are still there.
Yeah, no, he's talking about some bayou crabs, and but my mama is from Louisiana, so I don't really know how to take that, Nestor. So you and I are now gonna have to fight to the death.
I'm sorry, man.
And unfortunately for you, I'll kill you. So G Money, what do you think about this L?
So, the interesting thing, right? I mean, first of all, the Saints don't really have an offense. I mean, Olave, the rookie, who's doing actually pretty good. Kamara runs plays sometimes. Sometimes he's not running. He's not playing. He's injured. Michael Thomas is out for the year.
Jesus
You've got the Amish rifle, who, showing his age, he's more like an Amish musket. And let's not forget, the 49ers have the number 2 defense in the NFL. That's the number 2 defense in the NFL. Not the NFC, the NFL. And they have the number 10 offense. Now, yeah, they only put up 13 points. And Jimmy G is more, when we talk game managers, that's what Jimmy G is. He's a game manager. He's not your franchise quarterback, though he will. There's a high likelihood when he becomes a free agent next year, he's going to another team. He's going to sign a massive contract because someone's going to be desperate, and they'll think that he will be the savior, and he's not. I mean, if you don't have him surrounded with talent, he's just not going to do it. So, did it surprise me? The only thing that surprised me is they only scored 13 points. I expected a lot more. I really did. But no, I wasn't surprised if they won. And I won't be surprised if they win the NFC West.
Yeah, they probably will win the NFC West, which is never throwing my ass right now. Shaq, do you have any thoughts on this mediocre contest? It ended up being 13-0.
I'm not surprised that they won and beat New Orleans. I think New Orleans lives in the same aspect of my team of living off of the past and legacy that people kind of like, oh, well, that'd be competitive, but not really. No, not at all. They're a bad team right now. They will be a bad team for a little bit. They're in a state of rebuilding and trying to put their pieces together, so it's not a surprise that they lost this game, unfortunately.
I will never not be entertained at the amount of ways that Shaq can put a dig on his own team in a subject that has nothing to do with him. He's like, you know what? We're talking about these other teams here. Let me just take a giant shit on my own squad because they should be in the L's even though they won. That's just great, Shaq. I love it.
I've been in the L's in the past like 5 weeks. It's because we're on a bye week, or if you somehow beat the Colts and somehow find that as victory. But yes, continue.
Yeah, they have put in a semi-permanent residency in the L's, and I, for one, am excited about that because I love for you just to lose your shit on your own team, even though it's not really all that different from when they win, so it's kind of like the same thing. But switching to basketball right now for L's of the week, we got 2 things here. The Celtics tonight.
Okay, all right.
Snuffed the Heat.
What?
To the tune of 134 to 121.
They got a nice healthy snuff. I think we could say that.
I would just like to get your guys' Tatum's badonk over there just sat down on that fire and put it out over there, the Heat. So what do you guys think about your Heat losing again to the mighty Boston Celtics? Anybody?
They looked like they were in the game for a little bit. Jen, I mean, come on. They looked like they were
in the game. I mean, they were on the court.
We were watching. and then they were
present.
Last 5 minutes? They were like, okay.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes when Celtics said, all right, it's been real. We're trying to go home at a good time tonight. Let's go ahead and put these boys to sleep real quick.
I mean, that's a good
with 8 minutes. With 8 minutes left to go in the third, y'all put to sleep. The Shaq, anything?
I got nothing.
Right there. No, you ain't got nothing.
Well, I mean, your boy Tatum went out for 49 points.
Yeah, damn right he did.
I mean, and I have thought, before they made that freaking Kyrie Irving trade and they signed Hayward, who really never ever played because he got injured just getting on the plane. That they had a really good young nucleus, and they could go somewhere. They didn't need to make that Kyrie Irving trade. That was a freaking stupid trade. And signing Hayward, why don't you just sign its step stool? It's cheaper, and guess what? It folds up, so it doesn't get injured.
I think you're kind of disrespecting the fact that Hayward damn near snapped his ankle off. In an actual game, he wasn't getting off the plane. But
Yeah, that's what the film shows, but still, I believe he was getting off a plane that aggravated it, and then when he stepped on the court, he rolled his ankle. And
they might have filmed him rolling his ankle in the same studio that they shot the U.S. landing on the moon, I guess. I don't know. I still think
but,
they did.
but no, I really like Boston. I'll tell you, the two teams that I like in the East are Boston and Cleveland. And Cleveland's doing it the same way Boston did, is building with young talent and signing or making some trades that actually pay off, unlike Boston's trades that didn't pay off.
Yeah.
But
Miami,
they're teams in the East. I mean, Miami isn't. I mean, Miami has Butler, who's like 40 years old or older. I mean, he plays like he's 40. There's no one else. I mean, who else on the team they have? Hero shows up occasionally. Other than that, they don't have anybody. And if you look at Milwaukee, they've got Giannis, and that's it. They've got no one else. No one else.
I hope you guys lose.
Boston's actually a better built team, and so is Cleveland.
Well,
everybody else in the East gets pretenders.
Tyler Hero has definitely been signed by DC Comics and not Marvel because he's taking a fat L. And Jimmy Butler, like, I don't even think he's good enough to drive me around. Like, I don't know what type of, I don't know what he could do. But speaking of the Celtics, just once again here. What? You said what, Shaq? I'm sorry?
Oh, we get canceled. This disrespectful talk that they got going on right now.
I mean, the only thing disrespectful is what the Heat did tonight. But speaking about Tatum dropping 49 points on the so-called Miami Heat, he dropped 35 points and he took the stinger right out of the Hornets and shoved it up their ass the other night, and they won by a total of 140 to 105. So the Hornets taking another fat L, which proves again that even though Michael Jordan might be the greatest basketball player of all time on the court, he's still one of the worst owners in the business. So what do you guys think about the Hornets taking that fat L?
They took this L, and Brown didn't even play. I mean, our second best player didn't even play, and we still blew them out by 35 points. Like, and the Hornets are no slouches either. I mean, they're all right, but I mean, Jesus Christ! Like, Tatum was just all over. Marcus Smart had himself a game too. We were just raining threes all day.
Are you saying we're better than the Hornets?
No, we're not saying that. We're not saying that at all, mister. Don't try to take a lowercase L right now. You take an uppercase L tonight, sir.
I mean, I would say Miami's better than the Hornets, but that's like saying that the trash you throw out is better than the trash that's on the street. What's the difference?
Damn.
G-Money is on fire tonight. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the Celtics world, and everybody else is just living it right now, at least in the East. So,
all right. Well, before we move into the ride or die at 5, Jill, and I'm going to call a little audible here because we are at the third quarter mark of our fantasy team, and this is when we normally talk about what we like, what we don't like, what we hate, what we love. And so just to give the listeners a little bit here, there's somebody on top at 9-3, and it shouldn't come as any surprise that is me. Nestor is sitting at a poor man's 4-8.
It was the algorithm. It was the algorithm.
We got G Money, who has the best fantasy name in the entire league, crushing your nuts at 5-7. But then we got a couple people that have been making a jump over the last 6 weeks. Okay, we got Shaq over here. Look how happy Shaq is. It's almost like his baby boy just got birthed right in front of him. We got Shaq over here at 7-4-1, and then we got Jalen at 7-5. So I'm gonna give the floor to you guys. Like, what do you think of your squad going into the last few weeks of this fantasy team? What would you have done differently, and what do you love about your squad? Jalen, we'll go with you first.
Oh, go with me first. First of all, I want to thank Shaq because the last time we did this update, I was saving this for next week, but Malin brought it up early, so fine with me.
Oh, my bad.
The last time we did this segment, Shaq was talking real loud about how I was doing so awful. Now I won last year, and now this year I ain't shit. But I was like, all right, Shaq, okay, I'll see you in a month. And so now I'm about a half game behind this man, and I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for that perfect opportunity for him to slip up, and I leapfrog right on over him and get into those damn playoffs because that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
First of all, that's gonna be a big ass leap to jump over Shaq. You're gonna need to call up Elon Musk and get you a rocket. I will say that Jalen did beat me last week. You did. You beat me last week, and when I looked at it, going into Sunday Night Football, I think it was with Philly playing, I didn't look at my fantasy the whole day because I was stuck on I-75, and then I looked at it and I was like, shit, I'm only up by 7 points. Jalen, he got A.J. Brown. I was like, he gonna whoop my ass, and sure enough, he did. Nestor, how's the bottom of the sea feel right now? 4-8.
Hey, you know what? The algorithm.
There's only 2 out of 6. There's only 2 out of 16 teams worse than him right now. I'm just saying. At 16 teams,
not bad.
There's only 2 worse. So you're number 13.
Those 2 people must be paralyzed or dead.
So go ahead and talk about this algorithm.
That's not bad.
You got working
the algorithm picked my team, and they placed me on 3rd out of the whole league
every month.
And then I had Trey Lance injured, which I don't know how that could have turned out because we don't know. We don't know how Trey Lance would have done. We have no clue. And then my best running back.
You got a pretty good idea.
And then Denver didn't feel good about that either. And then who else got injured on my team? I had another great player on my team injured. Out the rest of the team, the rest of the season. So
didn't you have Kyle Pitts?
And then I
have Kyle Pitts.
I have Kyle Pitts. He's injured.
Okay.
So
I like Nestor playing the injury card. I like that. That's what losers do.
What other card could I play?
I don't know, the you suck card. That's what you could have played. G Money. Well, what do you think about your crushing your nut squad?
They suck. Quite frankly, I would fire all of them. They're worthless. For a moment there, I thought I had the fucking Denver Broncos mixed with the fucking Carolina Panthers. I don't know who drafted this team, but by God, they're getting fired.
I would just like to point out that G Money has Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback, so that's not good.
I picked him up.
Give him back.
My quarterbacks that I drafted were fucking crab legs, freaking Winston, and no field, Baker no field. So you know, I actually feel lucky that I picked up freaking Jimmy G.
Yeah, I gotta say we drafted early enough in the day
by 6 points because my wide receiver decided not to show up.
Didn't we draft at 2 o'clock, Jalen? Isn't that when we did the draft? Was 2 p.m.
Sounds about
I think we did it at 2 p.m. So that would have been 11 a.m. your time, G Money. There's no reason for you to be blackout drunk for you to make some of these picks.
I think I was sober. I think I needed to be drunk. Next time, that's it.
I think it's funny
All right, well,
I completely allow the algorithm to pick next time, no matter what happens, I'm attending this draft. I don't care if I'm banned from the U.S. or banned from whatever country. I will land on Shaq's head and draft my team.
This man gonna be sitting in Nicaragua just drafting this squad, just like not giving a shit. So Shaq, we know that this is the only thing that you really have to be excited about so far this year. So the floor is yours, sir.
I picked
The
most
floor
of
is yours.
driving to the draft with y'all because I went to the wrong place. So I'm stupid.
That's a you problem.
Geno Smith still popping out for me without a problem every week. So, man, and Jamar Chase has not been playing for me for the past couple of weeks, and he's finally coming back this week, I'm hoping. So, it's in a game. I'm projected to be third or fourth place coming on at least, so I'm hoping to pop off and really get higher than third or fourth place. So, I'm hoping. Joe, I'm waiting for you. Come ready.
So, man, I'm just saying, like, right now, Shaq, like, I don't think I've seen you smile that big, like, when she was winning the Super Bowl. So I'm really happy for you right now. And, of course, me, I'm 9-3. I'm projected to be first. That's all I do. I'm the only person to have a 6-game winning streak in this league, so there's nothing really to be upset about the fact other than I lost to Jalen last week.
I'm ready to throw you, Malin. It's okay. I'm ready.
I got you. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting finish line for some of us. It's going to be really interesting. Some of the people in the East Division, which Shaq and Jalen are in, they've been dropping lately. Elijah and Evan's been sliding.
I'm happy
bad.
First place, so that's where I'm at right now.
Just all right. A little more. Deshaun Watson.
All right. Yep. All right. Well, here we are with the best segment where people lose their 401ks if they listen to us people. It's time for the ride or die in 5, 25, 55, whatever. We don't need sleep. So we got myself last week. I was 3-2. I'm plus 47 on the year, and I have, or plus 47 overall, and I have a 63% winning percentage on my bets. Followed up by Jalen, who's sneaking up on me. He thinks he's thinking I didn't notice this. But he was actually 2-3 last week, but he's still plus 39. He's only 8 away from me at 58% winning percentage. Look at you there, better. Then you got Shaq, who was absent, which is weird because, like I said, he's not going to be present, but he was 0 for 0. But he's still plus 19 at a 54% betting winning percentage there. And then we got G-Money, people. This is why G-Money is G-Money. 5-0 for G-Money last week. Okay? Sitting there at plus 4 now, brought himself out of the negative. Sitting at 53.7% for the year since he started with us. And then we got Nestor. Went 3-2. He's plus 3 on the year. You know what that means, people? We're all positive. All positive. We're about to double that 401k if you listen to us, people. And he's sitting at actually 60% winning on the bets right now. So he actually has the second best winning percentage on everybody in Ride or Die. So if you need to pay your rent and you need to pay your mortgage and you ain't got the cash, listen to us and put up the bet. It looks like Shaq's about to take a piss, though. I don't know what's happening over there. Look like Shaq was peeing off camera. So we're going to go ahead and dive in here on the first game here, people. So we got Cleveland at Houston. Cleveland is -7, -7.5. Houston plus 7.5. I don't get into the whole numbers thing there. We're gonna go ahead and start with Nestor. Because you're the rook on this, and you're still plus 3, so we're starting with Nestor. Who do you like in this matchup? Cleveland's minus 7.5 or Houston plus 7.5?
I don't like Cleveland at 7. I feel like there's a lot at stake in this game, and it's a crazy game. and I feel like Cleveland's gonna win. They're really gonna win. I bet
They're going to win by 7.5, though.
but they're not gonna win by 7. I feel like the Texans are gonna cover it. So they're gonna. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. And the 10 witnesses are gonna be witness too.
Witness.
Wow, witnesses. All right. I still think it'd be great if they had their tables on the Houston sidelines given the size of Houston plays. I think that would just be amazing. All right, so we got Nestor taking Houston and the 7.5. All right, G Money, go ahead. Give us that G Money pick.
So I'm taking Cleveland minus the 7.5. I don't think that Watson's going to throw more than 20 times, but Houston has the worst defense in the NFL and the worst run defense, giving up 153 yards a game. Nick Chubb, as they like to do, is going to fucking eat. He's got to run.
All right, so we got Nick Chubb getting chubby like Watson went in the massage parlor. I like it. Let's go Shaq. What do you think, Shaq?
I'm also going to agree with the G Money with them and this negative 7.5. I don't see Watson doing overly too much right there. His first game back, they're not going to really make him go out there and just throw, and I don't see them putting up that much over them, so I'm going to go with that.
All right, I'll go ahead and go next. I'm taking Cleveland to 7.5 on this one because I think that even though Deshaun Watson hasn't played in 2.5 years, I do think that he's enough of a threat throwing the football that's going to open up more running lanes for Chubb. I think that Chubb is going to be the difference maker in this game, not Watson. And I think that Cleveland's going to cover the 7.5 points there. Jay, what do you think?
Folks, if you're trying to pay a nice hefty bill this week, go ahead and ride with your boy because I got the Houston Texans money line this week. Let's go Texans. I think the moment is going to be too big for Deshaun. He's going to walk in there, and it's just going to be a lot. I think that crowd is going to go absolutely nuts. The whole team is going to be playing all riled up, and they are going to want to stick it to the man that defiled their own women. Although I'm sure those women are located outside of the city of Houston. But they are going to want to make sure that he does not get away with it again. And they end up winning this game on probably a field goal in the last second. And he's not going to have a good game, folks. Chubb will have a good game, but Watson will not.
That is right. The Houston Texans are going to stand up for women's rights more than Iran. I love it. All right, so next game, we got Green Bay minus 4.5 at Chicago plus 4.5. Gentlemen, what's the money line on this one?
This is a sweet plus 165 for the Bears.
Beautiful. All right, Shaq, we're going to go with you first on this one since you already got your fist out there. What do you like in this game?
I'm going to agree with the points here. Look, very rarely do I have faith in Green Bay nowadays, but against this team, I'm going to give them faith and just cover the points. I'm going against this godful team, so give me Green Bay and points.
All right, well, what do you think there, Jay?
I'm going to agree with Shaq. I think we're hitting this point of the season where Brady and Rodgers, people are down on them both right now. But they are both playing some pretty bad football teams this week. Rodgers said he's cleared to play, and it sounds like he'll be playing. So I think they'll come out and have a pretty good game and end up beating the Bears in Chicago. He does have his way with his team. So 4.5 points, they can do that.
I'll go ahead and go next on this one. First, I still think that Fields is out, right? No Justin Fields.
I believe
in this
so.
game.
No, they said he was going to play, or he said he was going to play.
Oh, he will.
No, okay. This just kind of goes into what I was about to say about Rodgers just being a dick. Like, what is it with these quarterbacks going out there and deciding things for themselves and putting their team in a position that, like, I swear to God, like Aaron Rodgers uses the Pat McAfee show to air all his dirty laundry and like put the Packers organization like out there. He's like, nah, man, everything was fine. It's like, what other team would allow their quarterback to like, yeah, just go ahead and divulge medical information to the other teams? Like it's asinine. And then you got Justin Fields out there apparently saying that he's going to play. Like, let the team make a decision. Now the Bears, I think the Bears would be right in sitting Fields. Because the last thing you want to do is make that shoulder worse in a year that you're not obviously going to make the playoffs. Like, he's done enough to show this year that he's doing a decent to good job. He's better as a running back than he is a quarterback, but I think he's doing better. But I got to take Green Bay in the 4.5 on this one, just because even if Jordan Love plays, which played well last week, he wasn't a bum out there on the field. I think that no matter who Chicago puts out there, even if it's a banged up Justin Fields, I think Green Bay is going to have the edge at quarterback on this one. And I'm going to take Green Bay minus the 4.5. What do you think, Nestor?
I agree. Even if it's banged up Justin Fields, we've seen before that it doesn't matter how much Justin Fields just runs the ball and takes inspiration from Lamar Jackson. It doesn't matter.
Or
Forrest
Gump.
Take the L. Or Forrest Gump. Take the L. So I think Green Bay has a better squad. Green Bay points.
All right. I think I went Shaq first and me then Nestor. I don't think I went to G-Money yet. G-Money, what do you got?
So I'm going to go with the Packers like everybody else. Let's be honest. If Fields plays with a shoulder injury and an AC injury, he's not throwing the ball. Why? Why would you start him? And going back to your point, Malin, as far as Aaron Rodgers, I know why Aaron Rodgers wants to start, because he saw what Jordan Love did when he went out with an injury. And the last time someone, I don't know, what was his name? Oh, yeah, that's right, Brett Favre went out with an injury and Aaron Rodgers replaced him. Brett Favre didn't start again. He's playing with the Jets the next year. So, if Aaron Rodgers can't go, if he goes out there and he just can't do it, they should pull him and they should put Jordan Love in. And in fact, the coaching staff and the owners should make those calls. It's not the quarterbacks. I don't care if you tell me you're good. I look at you. I talk to my medical staff. I know you're not good. I'll sit your ass because, in all honesty, what do either of those teams have to lose? They're sure neither one of them are going to the playoffs.
Nope. I like how Aaron Rodgers keeps playing we're not mathematically eliminated. Well, that's just because the NFC is so bad. Like, they could lose the next 2 weeks and still not be mathematically eliminated, but they're still not making the playoffs.
They're not making the playoffs. Yeah.
It's got off. Jalen, I didn't go to you yet, did I?
You did. I took the Packers to cover. I do want to ask, who the hell is, if Justin Fields doesn't play, who's the backup in Chicago?
I think it's G-Money. Started.
It could be.
Yeah.
Which means I would throw some more, but I couldn't run the ball.
I honest to God don't know who the quarterback is. That is a really good question. Who the hell is? Okay, so real quick for you guys, because I want to ask this question before we move on. Okay, Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is playing for Green Bay next year. So I want to ask you guys, keep it short, 15, 20 seconds apiece. What team do you think Aaron Rodgers could possibly go to next year? We'll start with Nestor, because he's itching his arm because he has syphilis.
Not quite. I don't know. I don't know if that's the picture, but if I had to pick, the Panthers.
Panthers, okay. That's a terrible pick. Jalen.
Is there a pick that he stays in Green Bay?
I don't think he's staying in Green Bay. I think he's worn out as well.
I think he'll stay, man.
I just think there's too much money involved, and they just paid him for somebody else to come pick that up.
By the way, the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears last week was Trevor Siemian.
Oh, and he's injured.
Yeah, and he's injured. It was almost Nathan Peterman. But you better get fitted for your pads, G-Money.
I'll go next. We'll have Vegas paid for, that's for sure, my friends.
I think that there is going to be 2 quarterbacks on a certain team's radar next year, and I think that's going to be the San Francisco 49ers. I think they're either going to end up with Tom Brady or they're going to end up with Aaron Rodgers because they are in a win-now mode. They got the squad, they got the talent on both sides of the ball. I think they're just missing the quarterback to get them over the hump. I don't think they trust Trey Lance. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to win them a Super Bowl. And listen, man, Aaron Rodgers, he played at Cal Berkeley, and he's from California, Northern California. So is Tom Brady. Like, they both would love the opportunity to go home with that squad and win the Super Bowl. So that would be not my favorite spot for Aaron Rodgers to go because I don't want him in my division, but I think that would be an interesting one. That, or I would love him to follow the Brett Favre train and go to the Jets. I think that'd be interesting. So, what do you think, Shaq?
Unfortunately, I really say I want to agree with Jalen a little bit that he stays. Like, even though the team hates it even more, welcome, they're financially invested in this man, unfortunately, and they just got to tolerate the bullshit, and they might end up staying a little bit longer. I feel like he's going to be the one to just retire after he's worn out his welcome there, and he's like, I ain't going to do this. Get his money and leave and retire.
I think at this point, like, if the front office of the Green Bay Packers could just kill Aaron Rodgers and dump him in a Bermuda Triangle, I think they do it. Like, I think they're that sick of his shit. Like, I think he's worn out his welcome more than Brett Favre did trying to retire 4 times in a row. Like, I think they're that sick of him. I think that's why they're going to try to unload it because they know that they don't have a roster around him to get back to a Super Bowl, much less an NFC Championship game with what they have. So why are they going to continue to want to spend that money? And I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to be there. So yeah. G-Money, did I have you go yet on where you think Aaron Rodgers is going?
So if indeed they decide that they're done with Aaron Rodgers and they're going to trade him, the 3 teams I look at him going to are, of course, the Indianapolis Colts, who like retread quarterbacks. Tampa, because I don't think that Tampa Tom is going to stay there. He's going to either retire or move somewhere else. Or the Saints.
Speak that into existence.
The Saints.
I think if Sean Payton was still at the Saints, I think he would welcome that.
I mean, I don't see Dennis Allen is your coach. To the 49ers. I don't see Tom going to the 49ers either. I mean, the 49ers had that opportunity to sign him when he was a free agent. And they had the talent. And they had the defense. They just didn't want him. And they're not going to want Aaron Rodgers. Shanahan and Trey Lance. And that's how that's going to be. So you're going to have like 2 quarterbacks out on the open market, right? Tom Brady, Jimmy G, maybe Aaron Rodgers, but that's going to be through a trade.
I will say this about the Niners, though, is that Shanahan did not want to draft Trey Lance. That was not his choice. That is not who he wanted to draft. It was Shanahan's dad that was helping out with that pick selection. I think he actually wanted Matt Jones. But moving on to the ride or die, I just wanted to kind of see where people might want Aaron Rodgers to go there. We lost Nestor, but that's fine. So Miami +4 at San Francisco -4. This is one of the heavy hitters in the last part of the year where you get 2 squads, both over 7 wins. This is definitely a marquee matchup, which I don't think we would necessarily peg this being a marquee matchup in the beginning of the year, but you got the Dolphins going to San Francisco. You got Miami, four games in a row over 30 points. You got the number 2 defense in the NFL. What do you guys like in this one? Shaq, I'm going to go with you first on this one.
I'm good with can I do Dolphins +4 on this one? I have confidence in Dolphins offense to really get that touchdown over them. They're really explosive offense. They got the weapons per se to really get down there at the end zone. If they get one of those games again this week where between Tyreek and Waddle both get like crazy yardage, which is they're gonna need that to win anyway. I see them getting over the 4 points to really win this game, so I can go Dolphins with +4.
I'll go next really quick. I'm going to go ahead and take the Dolphins too with the +4. I think the Dolphins defense is underrated. Keep in mind when Josh Allen was an MVP candidate, they held him to 19 points. I don't think it's a stretch for San Francisco team to score 13 points to get the Saints and not get a whole lot more against the Dolphins, and they've been riding high with Tua back in the lineup. And Tua to my knowledge, Nestor, Tua has won every game that he has started and finished, correct?
Right.
Yeah, outside of the Edward Scissorhand game, he has won every game that he has started. So that's good for him. Nestor's trying to get blackout drunk before he makes his pick, but I'm going to go ahead and go with him next. What do you think? Dolphins +4, San Francisco -4. What do you got?
That Miami defense, when they know they have Tua, they work well. Yeah, definitely Miami. +4. Not much to say, but that offense is explosive. They'll do well. What happened to San Francisco against the Saints? Not much. Yeah, it'll work. +4, Miami.
Jalen?
Yeah, I think that if Tua is out there, that offense is just unstoppable. Like they're going to put up points, win or lose. It'll be close, and if you're gonna give me 4 points, it will be close. So I will definitely take those 4 points. I am glad that you brought up the defense, though, Manly, because that is something unspoken on Miami's front. It's all about those receivers, but their defense has played really, really well this year. So it's not just all offense. They're a very well-rounded team. So it should be an absolutely great game. I think it'll be within a field goal. So, yeah.
Nice. G-Money, what you got?
As much as it pains me, I'm taking the Niners minus the points, minus the 4. Niners have the number 2 defense in the NFL. Number 2 defense. And that's with Nick Bosa being injured. And he's back. And Armstead looks like he's going to be back. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but they have the number 10 offense. The number 10 offense in the NFL. Who would have figured that one out?
Definitely not from last week.
Exactly, right? You wouldn't have thought that. And that's even after last week. They have the number 10 offense. Now, granted, Miami has the number 3 offense in the NFL, but their defense is ranked 17th. And as we all know, defenses win championships. Defenses will win you games. If Seattle's defense could have stopped Josh Robb, could have stopped that run, we might have won that game. That didn't happen. Defenses will win you games. They will stop that offense dead in their tracks. And Tua has an ankle injury, so we'll see just how well he runs. We'll see how well he runs. And they're playing in San Francisco, which is going to be wet and windy and a shitty field.
I don't know why you had to bring up the bad memories of the Seahawks losing to the Raiders again, but I respect your pick. That just kind of hurt a little bit. The fourth game we got coming up for people: Kansas City -1.5 at Cincinnati +1.5. Can anybody tell me if Mixon is playing in this game? Is Mixon playing? Does he come out and say he's playing? Because that is.
I think he practiced today, but they still haven't really cleared him yet. And my guess is it's going to be a game time decision, which kind of screws my fantasy team too.
Yeah. But Jamar Chase is coming back, though, correct?
That's my understanding that he probably will be. And once again, it's probably will be back.
Okay, so we got Jamar Chase probably back. We got Joe Mixon practicing. Jalen, what you got on this one?
I'm taking the Chiefs in this one. Going with my man G right across the wall here. I think that the Chiefs have been on a nice little run here these past few weeks. They've been feeling themselves. If Jay Chase is back, I think it'll take him probably a game to get back into the swing of things. So I don't expect him to come out and have a huge game immediately. Same thing with Mixon. If he's kind of beat up, if he does play, I think it'll take him a good game to get back to the swing of things. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are at full throttle right now. I think that they can win this by a possession. So give me the Chiefs.
All right, Shaq, two things. One, can you try to sit further away from your camera? Try to act like that head not as big as what we all know it is. And two, who you got winning this game?
I got also Kansas City win this game. Like I said, there's a lot of adjustment on Cincinnati, and even with the full healthy roster, sometimes they pull through, sometimes they don't. But Kansas City, for the most part, is usually consistent. So I'm going to go ahead and roll with Kansas City to win this game.
All right, G Money, who you got?
I got Kansas City. I just don't see Cincinnati winning, and that's what they're going to have to do is win. And 1.5 points, as we all know, as a home team, you normally get 3 points, and they're not even giving you that.
Yep. Hi, Nestor. You look like you're falling asleep. So
I agree. It's probably gonna look like a close game in the first half, and I think Kansas City's gonna just start working all engines in the second half. So Kansas City points definitely.
Yeah, I agree with all you guys. I gotta take Kansas City. There's just too many question marks with Cincy's offense as far as the health. If Mixon was healthy, if Jamar Chase was healthy, if they had both been playing up until this week, I might have picked Cincinnati, but there's a reason why they're only getting 1.5 at home. And the Chiefs are doing Chiefs things, man. They're figuring out how to win late in ball games. And so even if they're not blowing out Cincinnati, they're going to figure out a way to pull this one out. So the last game we got New Orleans that threw up an 8 last week, or +4 at Tampa Bay -4. I'll go first on this one because I haven't gone first on any of them yet. Listen, I gotta take Tampa Bay on this one, and for no other reason that this is what Tom Brady does. Like 2020, man, they were 6-5, and then they won their last 8 games to make the Super Bowl, and then they won. And I think they're riding the same type of train. Like this man is going to end up 9-8. And host a playoff game, and he's going to be in the playoffs against the likes of Geno Smith, Jimmy G, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Hurts, and do we not think that Tampa could end up 9-8 and still end up going to the Super Bowl? Like it pisses me off to even think that it could happen, but it could totally happen. Like he's still the best quarterback in playoff contention right now in the NFC. In my opinion, at 45 years old. So I'm taking the Bucs -4, even though I don't want it to happen. But I know that Jalen and I, maybe a couple others, will be down there at the stadium on Monday night, taking the poll of the fans. Hopefully they're not too drunk to try to hit some people. But yeah. Let's go G Money next. Who you got? You got Tampa or New Orleans?
I got Tampa -4. I mean, let's be honest. Even though Tampa's defense isn't as good as it once was, isn't even as good as it was at the beginning of the season. Tom Brady gets how in God's name does Tom Brady get rid of the ball in like 2 seconds and hit a wide receiver. And Dalton, he's a backup now. I mean, he was good in Cincinnati, and then he was nothing in Dallas. And he's got nobody to throw to except Olave, which I hope he throws to a lot because he's on my fantasy team. But still, Tampa's going to win.
All right, you got Tampa. Nestor, who you got?
I have no confidence in the Saints at all. It's just a terrible team. Like I said, a lot worse than the people actually think they are. And Tampa, they're okay. I believe in DeForest Tom. Give me Tampa and the points.
It's like picking the lesser of two evils. It's kind of crazy. Jalen, who you got?
I think out of all of the games, this is the one that was the hardest for me to make a decision on. I kind of went back and forth, but it really just came down to what Malin said. Like, or when you look at all the quarterbacks here, I mean, it's still Tom Brady. I think that the Bucs will figure it out just enough to make the playoffs this year, and then we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, I think that they'll win this game at home by at least a touchdown. They obviously got embarrassed by the Browns in overtime last week, so they're going to be a bit more motivated at home. Obviously, the Saints got completely embarrassed, but the Saints are just a really bad football team. And at the end of the day, I think that TB12 and the Bucs will just find a way to get it done. So looks like everybody here is riding with Tampa. Please don't let us down this week. That's all I ask. We'll see what happens on Monday.
And Shaq, I'd just like to point out when you try to hide your head with your hands, it just makes your forehead look bigger. But go ahead and give us your pick here. You got Tampa Bay, you got New Orleans.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree with the crowd here with the Tampa Bay. I have no faith in the Saints. You just dogged them out earlier for being a god-awful team. As much as I hate the Bucs, and it pains me to say, I'm vote for them to go and win this. I can definitely see them do the deep playoff run, if not going to the Super Bowl again. And because Tom Brady is such a clutch player in playoffs, and he's so good in those clutch situations, it'd be hard to beat him. It pains me. I can feel in my chest that Tom Brady is gonna do it again to us, and it's gonna upset me. But yes, go ahead and choose.
Like, we are the shit on Tampa Bay sports show record here. We're all picking the Bucs. So that's kind of fun. Jay, can you give us a rundown on like who picked what? I think we all picked the same on 3 games, didn't we?
Yes, the Green Bay game, we all took Green Bay to cover. Kansas City and Tampa, we all took Kansas City and Tampa to cover. The only 2 games we differed on was the Houston and Cleveland game. Nestor was the only person to take the plus 7.5 for Houston. The 3 of you guys took Cleveland to cover. I'm on my island with the Houston money line. And Miami and San Francisco. G Money took the Niners to cover, and then the rest of us took Miami and the 4 points.
Yes, well, listen, at the end of the day, America, like I said, we are all positive on our betting. So if you bet with us, you're going to make that mortgage payment. And listen, at the end of the day, listen, after further review, episode 112. It's been a great show, guys. Listen, like, subscribe, show up, listen to us on the podcast. But the best experience is showing up live on Wednesdays at 9:30 at night, where you can get in the comment and just tell us how stupid we are. We're used to it. So anybody else? Last words before we sign off here?
I got 2 things. One, about the Saints and Tampa. The Saints are 0-5 against the spread on the road this year.
Yikes.
And number 2, the college football playoffs have been expanded to 12 teams in 2024 because the Rose Bowl did what they should have done in the first place, fucking caved.
Yeah, I know. I was actually a little bit upset that the Rose Bowl caved, but
No,
they did.
They didn't have a choice.
They needed to.
Yeah,
but anyways, yeah. So next week maybe we'll talk about some college football because we'll have some conference championships out of the way and the college football playoff will be set. But listen, America, we love you guys. We appreciate you, and you know who we don't love. You know who you are out there. We've made it pretty well known. But still like and subscribe and tell us you hate us in the comments. So have a great night, everybody.
Hey.
Enjoy.
Peace.
We are out.
On time.
No icebergs. Well, then we hit the